I want to pay special respects to Mrs. Taiwo Ige, the President, Association of Enterprise Risk Management Professionals, our chief host. Also, Olayinka Odutola, the Director General and CEO of Association of Enterprise Risk Management Professionals. Emomotimi Agama, the keynote speaker, distinguished and special guests and speakers present here, senior NDLEA officers with me, esteemed members of the Association of Enterprise Risk Management Professionals, inductees, ladies and gentlemen. As introduced, my name is Archie-Abia Ibinabo, Assistant Commander General of Narcotics, in charge of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Seaports and Marine Services. Your special guest, the Chairman of Honor, Brigadier General Buba Mohammed Marwa, planned to be here physically with you because of very important national duties. He was called away last night. Based on the respect and importance he places on this conference, he had to make me come in to stand in a representative capacity. He wants me to thank you so much for the invite and to bring his regards to every one of you, hoping that at the end of this conference will be better species of the persons that came into this hall. Having said that, I'll bring his message to us. Remarks by Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, as a special guest of honor at this media conference and induction ceremony by the Association of Enterprise Risk Management Professionals. Today being Saturday, 16th August 2025, at this wonderful university, James Hope University, Lekki. Never knew that we had such an edifice and a university till today. And I said to them that I'll also be one of your students very soon. I now speak for the chairman. I am delighted to be here in your midst. I'm very happy for the opportunity to deliver this remark. I will start by appreciating everyone who is participating in this conference and also commending the organizers, for indeed, this is a significant development. Your association is reputed for providing a multidisciplinary learning platform for financial regulators, operators, and risk experts operating in Nigerian financial markets. It is therefore not surprising that the theme of this conference is focused on the Investment and Securities Act 2025, implications for enterprise risk management and compliance in the financial markets, which could not be more timely or relevant. Our country has made progress since the return to democracy in 1999. We have had 25 years of uninterrupted democracy. And through thick and lean, we have continued to deepen the rule of law. Conferences such as this are avenues to further deliberate and come up with policy directions and new vistas on how to strengthen our laws and our democracy. So I understood when he was saying that questions need to be asked to the last lecturer or speaker. So I appreciate that quite. Is to further deepen our understandings. In today's interconnected world, the stability of our financial markets depend not only on economic factors, but also on how well we anticipate and respond to risk that cut across political, behavioral, and criminal domains. The new act is a legislative recognition of that reality. It emphasizes a shift from reactive compliance to proactive risk-based governance. Under the 2025 Act, risk management is no longer a support function. It is a strategic imperative. The Act places greater accountability on board members, executives, and compliance officers to ensure that their organizations can identify vulnerabilities early, respond quickly, and recover with resilience. In practice, this means continuous risk assessments that incorporate financial, operational, and reputational threats. Embedding compliance into every department, not just the legal or risk units, every department. Using technology and analytics to detect irregularities before they escalate into crisis. Compliance is now a culture, a way of doing business, not just a checklist for regulators. NDLEA perspective, criminal infiltrations of legitimate enterprises. From my vantage point at the NDLEA, I see a significant intersection between our work and the financial markets. The infiltration of illicit funds, particularly proceeds from drug trafficking, into legitimate business, is one of the most under-recognized risks facing corporate Nigeria today. Money laundering is not just a financial crime, it is a business contamination risk. It enables criminal organizations to gain influence in legitimate markets, distorts competition, and destabilize the very structures that risk managers and compliance officers are tasked to protect. You may wonder how drug proceeds impacts financial markets. The process of drug trafficking are vast. They are huge. And their handlers are sophisticated. They use layers of transactions, shell companies, and international transfers to obscure the origin of funds. If these illicit proceeds enter the investment and security space unchecked, they can inflate asset prices artificially, facilitate hostile or covert takeovers of legitimate companies, undermine the credibility of Nigerian markets in the eyes of global investors. The Investment and Security Act 2025 strengthens the requirements for enhanced due diligence. This means verifying beneficial ownership, understanding the source of funds, and reporting suspicious transaction in real time. I was studiously listening to our last speaker, and I think she brought this to the fore. Now, let me be very clear. Nigerian law empowers the government to forfeit businesses and assets proven to have knowingly facilitated or benefited from drug-related activities. The NDLEA has already enforced such measures, and under the new legal framework, the scope is even broader. For a business, forfeiture is not just a loss of assets. It is a total collapse of operations, collapse of jobs, and reputational standing. That is why enterprise risk management must include regular compliance audits, training for all employees on red flags of illicit transactions, board-level oversight of anti-money laundering obligations. Let us be practical. The risk for business includes, in the legal phase, lawsuits, criminal charges, and regulatory sanctions. In the financial front, the consequences includes frozen accounts, asset seizures, and loss of investors' capital. Reputational, permanent loss of brand trust, making recovery nearly impossible. In the operational fronts, disruption to supply chains, partnerships, and access to credit. A simple compliance failure can trigger a cascade of these consequences. Now, building a culture of compliance and integrity. A robust security and compliance culture should be organization-wide, not just limited to some persons. From the CEO to the newest hire. It should be integrated, linked to every strategic decision, contracts, and investments. It must be seen to be proactive, anticipating risks rather than reacting to crisis. It must be collaborative, working closely with regulators, law enforcement, and industry peers. I'm happy to see the EFCC, the NDLEA, the SEC, they are all regulators, and we are glad we are working together today. NDLEA assess seizures and wider economic impact on drug abuse. In our fight against drug trafficking, the NDLEA has intensified efforts to identify, trace, and seize the assets of major drug barons. These forfeitures not only disrupt criminal networks, but also send a strong deterrent signal that illicit wealth will not be allowed to thrive. In our economy, besides enforcement, we must also recognize the social economic toll of drug abuse itself. According to the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crimes, UNODC, about 14.3 million Nigerians aged 15 to 64 abuse drugs annually, a figure significantly higher than the global average. This growing population of drug users poses a serious threat to our national productivity. Workplace and road accidents, premature deaths, absenteeism, chronic health issue, reduced labor efficiency. More troubling still is the diversion of scarce developmental funds towards rehabilitation, medical treatment, and law enforcement operations, resources that could otherwise fuel education, infrastructure, and economic growth. The human and economic costs of drug abuse therefore makes this a problem that corporate Nigeria cannot afford to ignore. Now, let me shift to the public managers. Public managers need to be aware of this salient feature because the rule of law itself depends just as much, if not more, on public sector professionals, upholding it in their work than it does on laws and courts, and the other external mechanisms that are there when things go wrong. The onus is on public service managers to understand the application of our laws in policy making and implementation to enhance national development. As head, speaking now, the chairman, as head of a public service agency, namely the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, I can give an experiential perspective of how adherence to the law of the land has contributed to the accelerated development of NDLEA and enhanced a positive and far-reaching challenge in the landscape of drug law enforcement in our country, Nigeria. The NDLEA, meaning the chairman, Buba Marwa, came into on January 18, 2021, was facing existential challenges, both domestically and globally. For 3 decades, NDLEA was struck in a rut. It was not functioning as it should. Consequently, our country became a haven for drug traffickers and drug abuse culture thrived. Not many people could connect these developments with the state of anarchy that spread across the country. But I tell you, the security challenges we are grappling with today were catalyzed by the indiscriminate proliferation of illicit drugs within the country and the unrestrained influx of controlled substances into our territory. Studies have shown that indiscriminate access to illicit substances and increase in abuse of illicit substances contribute to violent crimes such as cult-related killings, armed robbery, banditry, terrorism, ills that have besieged our country. With the world now a global village, no country is safe from the illicit trafficking trade because it is perpetuated by transnational criminal organizations. This means that the challenges to regulatory law enforcement are both national and global in scope. This includes jurisdictional complexities, whereby differences in legal frameworks, enforcement capabilities, and capacities, cultural norms pose challenges to addressing certain national and global issues. Technological developments such as cryptocurrency, the digital economy, and constantly mutating internet fraud pose further challenges to the regulation of existing laws. Just as well, cross-border trafficking and money laundering exploit gaps in nation's legislation. And of course, resource constraints are a big challenge. So over 4 years ago, when we kicked off the process of overhauling our system and processes in NDLEA, we had our eyes on doing everything by the law, from arrest through prosecution, and staying in line with the criminal justice process, from forging partnership at home and abroad with other agencies, to treatment procedures and various SOPs. We did and are still doing everything in tune with global best practices and protocols. The National Drug Control Master Plan 2021 to 2025 fosters synergy between NDLEA and other regulatory and security agencies involved in the drug control efforts. In addition to this, we signed MOUs with national organizations, including Customs, NAFDAC, Immigration, EFCC, among others. We built bilateral relationships and with counterparts in other countries to improve international cooperation. And we ensure that we keep to the terms of the pacts. We revised our operations in line with existing global laws and national laws. All we did was untie the golden knots that had kept NDLEA non-functional for years. The key is our propensity to do everything by the law now, which has enhanced transparency in our operations, fostered equality, equity, and fairness within the organization, earned us respect and made us respectable, improved our efficiency and won support and partnership from peers, partners, and governments around the world. We were able to do this in 4 years, what we could not do in 30 years, just by abiding and playing within the rule of the law. And the immense gains served only to deepen our commitment to the rule of the law. There is still more to do. We will continue to let our actions and activities be guided accordingly. To conclude my message, I wish to congratulate and commend the association for maintaining a good track record in organizing successive and successful conferences and providing a platform aimed at bringing people at all levels together to share experiences and learn from one another to engineer social change in our financial markets and subsequently bring about sustainable development in the country. Your focus on the Investment and Security Act 2025 and its implications for enterprise risk management and compliance in the financial markets is particularly commendable. Can we clap for ourselves? Yes, I emphasize that again. Your focus on the Investment and Security Act 2025 and its implication for enterprise risk management and compliance in the financial markets is particularly commendable because where the rule of law prevails, such a nation is placed on the path of progress and will be characterized by development indices such as peace and security, economic growth, and increased investment, among others. No country has ever gone to great heights without observing the rule of law. On a final note, I wish the organizers a successful outing and sincerely hope that participants will have robust discussions that will stimulate new areas of reference for leadership. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a successful conference. I thank you for the opportunity to address the gathering. Thank you for listening. Oh, a final line, it said, God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.